Admiral Vexathara had seen many worlds burn in her 3 centuries of service to the Corvani Empire. The sight of molten glass where cities once stood no longer stirred any emotion in her chitinous breast. But as she watched the orbital bombardment, reports from New Haven scroll across her command screen. Something felt different this time. "Status report," she commanded, her mandibles clicking with authority. "The human settlement has been completely vitrified, Admiral," reported her tactical officer. "Population, approximately 50,000 colonists. No survivors detected." New Haven had been nothing special, a small agricultural world on the edge of human space, populated by farmers and miners seeking a quiet life among the stars. The Corvani Empire had marked it for expansion, and when the humans refused to evacuate, standard protocol demanded orbital bombardment. Glass the surface, sterilize the threat, move on. What the Empire hadn't anticipated was how Earth would respond. 3 days after New Haven's destruction, long-range sensors detected something that made Admiral Vexathara's exoskeleton crawl with unease. Ships were emerging from the Sol system, not the handful of patrol vessels the Empire expected, but a massive fleet that seemed to materialize from nowhere. "How many vessels?" she demanded. "Initial count shows. Admiral, this cannot be accurate." "Give me the numbers." 300 warships, Admiral, all heading directly for our position." Vexathara felt her breathing slits contract. Intelligence. Reports indicated humans possessed perhaps 40 military vessels of significance. Where had these ships come from? The answer became clear as the human fleet drew closer. These weren't standard military vessels. They were converted cargo haulers, mining ships, passenger liners, even luxury yachts. Each one bristled with hastily welded weapon mounts and improvised armor plating. The humans had transformed their entire civilian fleet into instruments of war in a matter of days. "Incoming transmission from the human fleet," her communications officer announced. "Put it through." The image that appeared on the main screen was not what Vexathara expected. Instead of a military commander, she found herself looking at an elderly human woman with silver hair and eyes like frozen nitrogen. She wore no uniform, only simple civilian clothes stained with what looked like engine grease. "I am Captain Sarah Chen of the cargo vessel Prosperity," the woman said, her voice carrying an edge that made seasoned warriors uncomfortable. "I'm speaking for Earth's response fleet." "Response fleet?" Vexathara couldn't hide her confusion. "You're civilians." "We were," Chen replied, "until you murdered our children." The transmission cut, and suddenly the human fleet was moving, not in the careful formations of trained military units, but like a swarm of angry hornets. They came from every direction, their improvised weapon systems lighting up space with deadly intent. The first human ship to reach the Corvani line was a mining vessel called Deep Digger. Its industrial plasma cutters, designed to slice through asteroids, proved equally effective against Imperial warship hulls. As it died under focused fire from 3 destroyers, its crew rammed their ship into the largest enemy vessel, detonating the ship's entire cargo of mining explosives. More came. A passenger liner had been converted into a missile platform, its luxury suites now housing launch tubes that spat death into the void. A food transport ship had somehow mounted a planetary bombardment cannon on its hull, the same type of weapon used to glass New Haven, and turned it against its creators. "Admiral, we're being overwhelmed," her tactical officer reported. "These humans fight like they have nothing to lose." Vexathara watched in fascination and growing dread as more civilian vessels threw themselves into battle. She had studied human warfare, knew their reputation for tenacity. But this was something beyond conventional military doctrine. This was pure, distilled vengeance, given form and propulsion. The converted yacht Summer Dreams somehow managed to disable 2 Imperial frigates before succumbing to defensive fire. Its crew, a retired couple from Mars, transmitted their final message. "This is for the Chen family of New Haven. They grew the best strawberries in 3 sectors." Personal messages flooded the communications channels as more civilian ships joined the battle. Children's names, lost loves, destroyed dreams. Each ship that died took Imperial vessels with them, and each loss only seemed to fuel the humans' fury. They're not trying to win, Vexithera realized with growing horror. They're trying to make us pay. The battle raged for 18 hours. When it was over, the Corvani Third Fleet had been reduced to scrap metal and cooling plasma. Of the 300 human vessels, only 47 remained functional. But they had achieved something no military force had managed in 3 centuries of imperial expansion. They had completely annihilated a major Corvani battle group using converted civilian ships. Admiral Vexthara found herself aboard an escape pod, watching the human survivors gather their dead. She expected them to finish off the imperial survivors, but instead, they began broadcasting on all frequencies. "This is Captain Chen of the Sol Response Fleet," came the familiar voice. "We're transmitting the tactical data from this engagement to every human colony, every trade vessel, every exploration ship in known space. They'll know how to convert their vessels. They'll know how to fight. The Empire killed 50,000 of our people," Chen continued. "Today, we've shown what happens when you threaten human families. This fleet will return to Earth, but not to disarm. We're going to build more ships, train more crews, and prepare for the next time someone decides to test human resolve." As her pod drifted toward the nearest Imperial rescue vessel, Vexthara realized that the Empire had made a catastrophic error. They hadn't just attacked a human outpost, they had awakened something primal in the human species. Something that would spread throughout known space like wildfire. The humans hadn't just answered with firestorms from orbit, they had answered with the fury of an entire species that would never again allow their children to be murdered without consequence. In the distant Sol system, shipyards that had been dormant for decades roared back to life. The age of human expansion was about to begin, written in fire and tempered by loss. The Empire had wanted to teach the humans about power. Instead, they had learned about family,